A local pharmaceutical company that has been working on a COVID-19 vaccine will soon start its third phase of trials.
And Netta has been keeping track of INOVIO Pharmaceuticals. She's here with a look at their latest progress. What's going on, Netta?
Yeah, we went to their lab back in February of last year, and we just returned about a year and a half later to find out where their vaccine stands. Now, their vaccine uses the DNA technology, not like the mRNA that we hear about with Moderna and Pfizer. And it's because it's a DNA vaccine that INOVIO could hold the key to having a vaccine for third world countries and possibly provide a booster shot for everybody.
INOVIO Pharmaceuticals has had a very busy year and a half. As soon as China released the sequence for COVID-19, INOVIO was one of the first labs to work on a vaccine. In fact, within 3 hours, researchers here in Sereno Valley had one. It was back in February 2020 when I first met INOVIO researchers. They explained to News 8 they have an algorithm they designed, and they put the COVID DNA sequence into the algorithm to create the vaccine. Now, a lot has happened around the world since then. While other big-name pharmaceuticals got approval to administer vaccines, INOVIO's was going through clinical trials. Now they've been accepted into a phase 3 efficacy trial.
We're going into our phase 3 trial with a huge amount of confidence in the data.
Dr. Kate Broderick, the Senior Vice President of Research and Development at INOVIO, says they've been approved to test the vaccine on people in Mexico, Brazil, and the Philippines. They could lead the vaccine efforts in poorer countries.
I think the whole world is so thankful for the huge advances that were made by what we call the Wave 1 vaccines. However, the kind of sobering thought is that only 2% of the population in lower income countries actually have received a vaccine.
This is the type of vaccine that does not need a freezer. In fact, a refrigerator or room temperature would work for storage.
Unlike the Pfizer and Moderna shots, which require freezing.
RNA is actually quite an unstable molecule, and that's why you probably heard it has to be kept in freezers. DNA is quite different to that. You can actually keep it outside at room temperature.
INOVIO's vaccine can stay for over 1 year at room temperature and for over 1 month at 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. How it works is it gives the body a copy of the virus's genetic material to build the T cells and the antibody response to COVID.
So I kind of think of that as an FBI most wanted poster. So you're giving the body a picture of what a part of the virus looks like and saying, if you see this, make sure you mount a response to it.
She says their shot could also work as a booster.
So it would be really beneficial if we could actually kind of do a mix and match scenario.
That's because with all the variants, she doesn't believe this virus is going anywhere for a while.
I can completely understand people are sort of feeling like they're over this and, I got my vaccine, isn't that good enough? Unfortunately, that's just not the case with this virus. We're going to need to keep giving people booster shots. And I know it's frustrating and I know it's just yet another thing to be concerned about, but it's the right thing to do.
They're aiming to complete the efficacy trial by early next year. Then they'd need each country to approve their vaccine.
So they still have a bit of ways to go, and so far Dr. Broderick says they've not had any issues with side effects in their 2 phases that they've gone through. No flu-like symptoms after their shot, just some redness of the skin. They do not administer this vaccine into the muscle. And you may be wondering why the shot's taking longer than the others to go through the stages of approval. Well, Dr. Broderick says the Wave 1 vaccines, they've been successful because they are bigger pharmaceutical companies compared to INOVIO.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, better get it done right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I remember the first time you did talk about them, you said was in February, and I was like, who's this company? What are they doing?
Right here in Sereno Valley. Yeah.
Incredible technological advances right here in our own backyard.
Yeah, and I mean, we could find out, early next year where they stand, and other countries may bring their vaccine in. So we'll see.
Super
We'll
cool
keep tabs on them for sure.
Yeah.